and about the media, because I think what we're facing right now is a crisis in institutions that formerly were devoted to protecting the truth and spreading knowledge and public enlightenment, right? One is the university and the other is the media. Now, the media has never performed that role. The corporate media has never performed that role really well, or I guess I should say they've performed that role inconsistently over the years. They've had a few shining moments like Watergate and so on, but then other moments where they have failed miserably. But what's happening right now is, the Trump administration, Trump has never made a secret of the fact that he despises journalism and he despises the news media. In his first campaign, he called journalists enemies of the people. And he, throughout his first term as president, denounced leading news organizations, CNN, Washington Post, the New York Times, as perpetuating fake news, right, and as being really, really bad, really, really bad. And a lot of that was just intimidating rhetoric. And some of his followers picked up on it, and they would harass journalists, and they would they would subject them to death threats and so on. But now it has gone beyond simply threatening and intimidating rhetoric. He is using all of his power to attack and destroy the news media. He's brought a series of lawsuits that are completely specious against, for example, CBS. He brought a $20 million lawsuit against CBS for I think the editing of the 60 minutes interview with Kamala Harris. He brought a similar lawsuit against I think it was it
See, George Stephanopoulos.
ABC because of George Stephanopoulos saying, inaccurately that Donald Trump had been found guilty of rape by a jury when in fact it was that a jury had found that he had committed sexual abuse. There's a difference between the two, and that Right. So each one of these organizations, like in the case of ABC, they settled. They were willing, they're willing to pay millions of dollars to the Trump library. Meta and Facebook, which had suspended Trump's profile on Facebook after the January 6th insurgents, went and apologized to him and paid him $1 million as compensation for suspending his Facebook profile. And now, we saw what happened in the lead up to the election, where the Washington Post refused to issue an endorsement in the presidential race as a way of currying favor with Trump, who was presumably going to win. Same with the LA Times. They refused to issue an endorsement, again, as a way of currying favor. After the election, Jeff Bezos announces a change in the editorial policy of the editorial page of the Washington Post. And now it's only going to print libertarian viewpoints. It's only going to be open to viewpoints that promote like free markets. And there is an FCC chair of Donald Trump is installed as chair of the FCC, Brendan Carr, somebody who wants to punish the corporate media for having DEI programs, for even hiring Black, Latino, or women reporters or news producers, right? And so he's investigating right now ABC/Disney and Comcast/NBC for their DEI programs. He's threatening to prevent a merger between Paramount and Skydance Media because they have DEI programs. And he's somebody who is, frankly, he is pro censorship. Like, he is in favor of the TikTok ban, which, by the way, we haven't mentioned, is going into effect on Saturday, right? If nothing else happens. It's going into effect on Saturday if nothing else happens. But of course, Jeff Bezos has stepped forward now with a last minute bid to purchase TikTok. So we'll see what happens. We'll see which oligarch ends up with that little toy. But what Brendan Carr is going to do is he is going to rework the regulation of our media, the electronic media, the media that the FCC regulates, mainly broadcast media and the internet. He's going to rework it so that it favors the giant incumbent media companies, whether they're big tech companies or incumbent legacy media companies. He's already said that he's not going to appeal the defeat of network neutrality rules. So network neutrality is dead. And that's going to mean that these big internet service providers like Verizon and Comcast can start charging internet content providers to prioritize their content online. I mean, so they're going to do everything possible to turn the electronic media into a playground of the oligarchs, which it already is, to make it even more a playground of the oligarchs. And and to punish companies that Carr and MAGA view as enemies of Donald Trump. It's very clear that that's what's going to happen.
Hey Detoxers! Thanks for tuning in. You can find Disinfo Detox on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and share. Every click helps grow the community and keeps those tech overlords happy. Detox complete.